You ever talk about something random like sneakers or a trip, and 5 minutes later you open your phone and there it is, an ad for the exact thing you just mentioned, and you just sit there thinking, okay, that's actually creepy? Or you type something out, read it again, and suddenly decide not to post it because it might come off the wrong way. Yeah, that feeling isn't random, and it's not new either. George Orwell warned about this before smartphones, before the internet, before any of this even existed. In his novel 1984, he imagined a world where screens weren't just something you watched, they watched you back. In that world, every home had something called a telescreen. It looked like a normal device, but you couldn't turn it off. It was always there, always on, always capable of watching and listening. You didn't know when you were being observed, only that you could be at any moment. And that's where it starts to feel a little too familiar, because your phone might not be called a telescreen, but it's always with you, always listening for something, always tracking something, always collecting something. And the scariest part isn't even whether it's watching you or not, it's the fact that you already act like it is. In Orwell's world, the real power didn't come from catching people doing something wrong. It came from making them believe they could be watched at any moment. That constant possibility changed how people behaved, how they spoke, and even how they thought. The 1984 world had something called the thought police, and their job wasn't just to monitor actions, it was to control ideas before they even became actions. You didn't need to be punished all the time, you just needed to believe that you could be. And once that belief is in place, something interesting happens. People start filtering themselves. They stop saying certain things, not because they're told not to, but because they don't want to deal with the consequences. They rethink their words, adjust their tone, and slowly reshape what they express until it feels safe enough to exist publicly. If that sounds familiar, it should, because it happens every day now. You type something out, pause, and delete it. You rewrite a caption 3 times before posting it. You choose words carefully, not just to be understood, but to avoid being misunderstood. And this is where the system gets even smarter, because it's not just about watching you, it's about shaping what you see in the first place. In 1984, the party didn't just monitor people, it controlled information completely. What you read, what you heard, what you believed, it all came from a single source, and over time that made it almost impossible to question anything, because there was nothing else to compare it to. Now, look at how things work today. You open your phone, scroll for a few minutes, and it feels like you're choosing what you watch, what you like, what you believe. But behind that, there's an algorithm deciding what shows up in front of you, filtering out everything else, and slowly building a version of reality that feels personalized but isn't complete. The more you interact with certain types of content, the more you see it, and the less you see anything that challenges it. That's exactly how it pulls you in. Because it doesn't force you to believe anything, it just keeps showing you the same patterns until they feel normal. Your opinions start aligning with what you see most often. Your reactions get shaped by what performs well, and without realizing it, your perspective narrows. It feels like freedom, like choice, like control, but it's actually a loop that keeps reinforcing itself. And this is the part Orwell really understood, because the goal was never just control, it was compliance. In 1984, people didn't just follow the rules because they were forced to, they followed them because they believed they had to. Now think about how that looks today. No one forced you to carry a device that tracks your location, listens for voice commands, and learns your habits over time. No one forced you to connect everything to it, from your messages to your photos to your entire social life. You agreed to it because it made things easier, faster, more convenient. And convenience is powerful because it doesn't feel like a trade-off until you realize what you gave up. That's why this doesn't feel like control. It feels like choice. But the result is the same. You think before you speak, you adjust before you post, you shape your behavior based on what gets approved and what doesn't. Not because someone is directly telling you to, but because you've learned how the system responds. And that's the real shift. Because at that point, no one needs to watch you anymore. You've already started watching yourself. So here's the question. Are you actually free to say what you think? Or have you just learned how to think in a way that feels safe? If this made you think differently, hit like and subscribe to the channel.